Lando Norris hasn't won a race all season until this last weekend.
What a race.
McLaren's drought has ended in one race. 3 years running, they have won at the Hungarian race. And George Russell went from P6 to P21 because of on the first corner, fought his way all the way back to P7. And I don't know if it was a good race, a good thing, or if it's just George completely falling apart. Ferrari's own team boss said everything went wrong this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
They were locking out free practices. They were the talk of the paddock leading into Sunday, and they finished in P4 and P5, and everyone was scratching their head going, what happened? This is rolling start.
This is. And we talked about this race being significant.
A decider, for sure.
Because we are now into the summer break.
Yes.
Which means everyone's got to put the computers away, step away from the factories, and you got to shut down.
Yes.
No more work.
Exactly.
And this race reset some things.
Right.
Specifically with McLaren. It's not a fluke. They brought upgrades. The upgrades worked.
100%.
One of the things that came up,
Norris did take pole by like a razor thin margin. It was like 0.0012 from Hamilton. But
still
pole is one thing. Sunday is what matters. And both of the McLarens had pace on Sunday.
They did. I mean, Lando was ahead of Max by 15 seconds in the end. That's some pace.
That is significant.
He was ahead of Kimi by 18 seconds.
100%.
Now, one of the things that came up was this is not a track where speed is really, or the fastest car, the most powerful power unit is what is favored to win.
No,
it's just a ton of curves, a ton of corners, all that kind of stuff.
It's the best handling car. It's the most balanced car. There's only one real straight, and they're on it for like
barely long enough
seconds
to pass.
Yep.
But here's the thing about it, though. Some would say that would mean Mercedes isn't favored, but Mercedes did well at Monaco.
Correct.
A similar track.
Very similar.
It's a lot of
Well, they call
curves.
Hungary Monaco without the walls.
Yeah. So this win for Lando underscores the fact that McLaren got something right.
Yes.
And that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And they are now riding some momentum finally going into the summer.
Yeah. I mean, the reigning world champion, even though we don't like the term reigning.
No.
The reigning world champion is...
He was the 2025 world champion.
Yeah. The 2025 world champion this year in 2026, racing at Hungary. Lando Norris finishes the race 15 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen, who was complaining and moaning about his car the entire time. We'll get there.
We will.
The more significant point is I think he would have finished way further ahead of Max if for the first half of the race, he wasn't in the dirty air of his slower teammate, Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
Like Oscar overtakes Lando at the beginning of the race.
You know what it reminded me of?
Talk to me.
Remember Monza a couple years ago when frickin' Oscar just kind of stabs Lando in the back?
Yes.
It's right in the first like 2-3 corners.
The old Oscar Piastri first lap overtake.
It reminded me of Monza. But Oscar has not had the pace that Lando has this season. And it really showed. And so to your point, if Lando had been able to get away cleanly, I think he would have won by a larger margin.
Yeah, 100%. I think he could have been 30 seconds ahead. Easy. The McLaren was locked in, and more importantly, not just the McLaren, Lando. I mean, to the point where his engineer comes online and says, "Hey, you've made your point. Slow it down."
What point was Lando wanting to make? And we didn't hear that part of the radio. But what's the point that Lando was trying to make to his team, to anyone who's listening? What is he got to prove?
Yeah, I mean, his post-race quote was, "The car was beautiful to drive. I felt very confident. My pace today was probably some of the best pace I've ever had."
Strong words.
Strong words. Your opinion is that he is proving his point from last year when he was asked to give the place back.
Oh, absolutely. Like these guys remember everything. They remember every slight. They remember every jab. They remember every side look. Like last year, he is on the straight. The team essentially tells him to stop.
Right.
Because their strategy required, because of papaya rules, that they honor Oscar with the strategy. And so in that moment, we went off. Most people did, to say, these papaya rules suck. This isn't racing. What are you doing? You're literally telling someone to stop their car to give place back to their teammate who's 7-8 seconds back.
Yes, exactly.
So this year, we're back at Hungary. Lando hasn't won yet. He's not the reigning world champion. He's the 2025 world champion who's sucked this year because his car has sucked this year. And at the very beginning, his teammate freaking pulls an Oscar and knifes him in the back and overtakes him. Now, it's brilliant racing.
Yeah.
It's Oscar racing. But Lando knows he's quicker.
Yes.
And he knows, because of papaya rules, Oscar will get the preferential strategy.
Right. Well, he'll at least get to choose when he gets to box, which is essentially that's preference.
It's the undercut, it's the overcut. It's a big deal at Hungary because
they get to lead,
really pass. And so I think Lando wanted to freaking stick it to his teammate and stick it to his team to say, you are going to give the slower driver the preferential treatment,
right?
Even though you know I'm quicker.
Yes,
I'm going to prove it! ! And he did.
Yeah.
He did. But that's my opinion on what he was trying to prove. Is it wasn't necessarily to like all of us watching, it was to his team, it was to his teammate to say, like, move over. I'm still the reigning world champion.
Yeah, exactly. And man, Oscar had a tough weekend.
Oh yeah, bummer
weekend. He led the race for the majority, and pits. Norris takes off. Norris is ripping, and Oscar's making his way back through.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden, comes up behind Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz doesn't see him, crashes in, immediate gearbox failure. Oscar's done. He's cooked. It is literally over.
Yeah. Where do you see Oscar when we come back from this summer break? He's had a rough.
Oscar is Formula One's unluckiest elite driver.
Strong words, considering we've got a George Russell out there, but say more.
Like I said, George Russell is Formula One's unluckiest driver. Oscar Piastri is Formula One's unluckiest elite driver.
I like that.
You look at Oscar, and he came into the McLaren team, and from the jump just popped.
Oh yeah.
Year 2, he's battling it out for the world championship.
Honestly, like a Kimi Antonelli.
100%. He almost gets it. He's right
all the
there
way until the end.
All the way until the end. There's a possibility in the last race, albeit it was really between Lando and Max. And it was Lando's to lose 100%. But he was in it. He was right there
till the end.
And then this year, you're expecting them, coming off of multiple world championships as a team, with a world championship driver now. So now he's got 2 team world championships underneath his belt as a very young driver.
Only a couple seasons in.
We keep
forgetting that.
100%, because he comes off seasoned.
He really does.
But he comes off as like in the George Russell era. But he's much younger, and he's much later into Formula One than all of those guys, including Lando. Lando's been in Formula One for, I think, over a decade now.
It's been a while.
Almost over a decade. I think he joined in 2018. And so you're looking at, like, bro, Oscar's out this season. No one's talking about him.
Yeah.
And then this was the one chance he had to win the first race of the season for McLaren, to start changing the narrative leading into summer. And what happens? He gets clipped by Carlos Sainz, who's like 5 laps behind him and doesn't move over because he doesn't see him. And his gearbox is cooked, and he's out. He's done. There's 0 points.
Yeah.
0 fandom, 0 redemption on a weekend when it was looking like it was going to be a 1-2 for McLaren. He doesn't get 1. He doesn't get 2. He gets DNF'd.
Yeah. No,
It's right. It's unluckiest elite driver in Formula One is what I'm saying.
Oscar is elite. Oscar is in the category of a Kimi Antonelli. And give Oscar a competitive car again,
Yes.
and he'll be back there.
Yes.
And so
yes, but championships aren't won or lost because you're slow. They're won because of weekends like this.
Yeah.
Where something like a Carlos Sainz inter-team battle that they were having happens and he loses all points.
Well, it's all in the margins. It's all in the smallest moments when things are won and lost. And so that's why we saw what we saw last year with them battling to the very end over every single point. Everything was heightened. This year, that's why you see Kimi demanding to stay out at Silverstone, because he needs every single point. These guys understand how close this is going to be.
Yes.
And in the last 5 races, we've had 5 different winners.
Yes, 100%.
We're getting back to the point where other teams are all in it. We've now had Mercedes, McLaren, Ferrari all win races. And Max isn't that far off. Red Bull is about to jump back into. So to go back to Oscar and McLaren, like they are in a moment where if they really got their car right, and if it actually can compete at fast circuits as well as circuits like, Hungary, where it's just a slower circuit, Oscar and Lando are both back in the mix.
Yes.
Which is incredible, because that means we've got 6 drivers who are all capable of winning races. Oh, well, 7 if you include Max.
100%.
But Red Bull's just not quite there yet.
Max sure is. P2.
Max is always
there.
He's
you
always
never
ready.
count Max out.
You can never count him out. But yeah, I mean, it's a bummer for Oscar. I wish we were talking about him more this season. The car plus his pace has not given us a lot to talk about. But this race weekend was a big deal for McLaren.
100%.
Even though Oscar DNF'd. They had 1-2 at the beginning. They should have taken 1-2 for the entire race. And if anything, they should be going into the summer break with the wind at their back. They really should.
100%. But they didn't. And they're not the only ones that don't. I mean, Ferrari. Dear Lord.
They lost out this weekend.
Ferrari didn't lose because they were slow, though. That was the irritating part. Ferrari lost because Ferrari was being Ferrari again. And this is what we said last week.
Get our hopes up too much.
We said this was going to be the weekend. Like, we needed them to show up at this place. They had Lewis Hamilton, who was 0.0012 away from pole position. And he has won 8 times at this track. He owns this track. And Ferrari was Ferrari. They ended P4 and P5. Not even on the podium.
Nope.
We're back to the pit wall antics. And that is not what Ferrari needed going into the summer break. They needed to squash the story, but we're back with Fred Vasseur saying we'll learn from this. And I'm asking, like, at what point do we stop learning and start winning, Ferrari? Like, they've admittedly said that they've got issues on the power unit side. The chassis is awesome. Everyone has said that. But their engine is struggling with their straight line speed, with being able to overtake. And you saw that this weekend.
Yeah.
You saw glimmers of like incredible racing. Hamilton going around people at turn 5 on the outside is, I literally cannot remember ever seeing that done at Hungary.
Incredible.
And it was awesome. But then it just stopped.
Yeah.
And the tires gave out. And the strategy, that is where strategy was supposed to come in. Ruth Buxton, who's awesome, she was saying it is a strategy track because overtaking is so hard. And so even though we saw quite a lot of overtaking on Sunday, which was awesome.
More than I thought we would.
But it was strategy that lost for Ferrari.
Yeah.
Like, at what point do they get their fingers out of their tailpipe and figure out how to get their drivers at the front of the grid consistently? Like, what is the actual problem, Benjamin?
Yeah. Well,
sorry, I brought your government name out.
It's a good name. Hungary was a visitation from the ghost of Ferrari past.
Yeah.
And that ghost keeps springing up.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that's frustrating is Ferrari and Mercedes, the last several races, have been in this kind of pound for pound battle where it's been Ferrari, Mercedes, Ferrari, Mercedes. Hungary should have been Ferrari.
Yes. And it wasn't.
It was McLaren.
It was McLaren.
Because Ferrari, it wasn't just that the team made strategy errors, although they did.
Yes.
It was that Lewis got in his own way and he made really sloppy mistakes. So there was two mistakes.
Was it Lewis? Yes. Okay. Are you talking about his penalties?
There was 2 penalties this weekend, and he has gotten penalties the last 4 weekends. Now, we've talked about penalties ad nauseum in other episodes and the FIA and how we hate them for all that. Some of those penalties might not be his fault, but these 2 are really hard to argue that they weren't. He got 1 in qualifying, which was a grid penalty, which dropped him down the grid. And then he got another during the race, was a 5-second penalty. And so Lewis got kind of caught up this weekend too. Now, his strategy was terrible. They literally had him on like a 3-stopper where they brought him in a 70-lap race. They bring him in on lap 13.
Right.
And then again on like lap 30. And they were like, oh, we're going to do a 2-stop. Wait, you're doing a 2-stop and you're going to expect him to go 40 laps?
It doesn't make any sense.
Like,
but is that Lewis's fault?
No. Here's what I'm saying. It was a combination of team and Lewis both not being at their best.
Right.
That's what this weekend was.
Yes, I think Lewis was racing at his best. I think he got caught up with some of the crap with impeding and
sure.
And then also, the pit lane thing. There's no way around that. That just is what it is. Although we seem to be having a lot more issues this year with pit lane speeding for whatever reason.
A little confusing.
I'll blame the FIA. No problem. Sorry, Mohammed. And my thing with Lewis is everyone's talking about whether or not Lewis is beating Chuck or if Chuck is beating Lewis. I don't actually think it's between the two of them. I think it's Ferrari. They're both fighting. It feels like they're fighting Ferrari. They're fighting strategy. Chuck on the radio, if you think back through the last few races, his main concern is not so much what's going on with Lewis, although he was saying, tell Lewis to move over. I'm faster this weekend.
Yeah.
For the majority of their complaints are to their team about their car. Lewis, guys, did you get that front wing? No, I wasn't able to get that front wing on. I have no front end.
Yeah.
This is as much as I can do with what you got. I asked you for this. You did not do it. Like, they gave up to have a fast pit stop instead of giving him front wing, and then he couldn't do anything for the rest of the race. That's not Lewis.
Yeah.
That's not Lewis at the top of his game. That's him going, guys, I need freaking a lack of understeer, and all I'm doing is sliding out in every corner.
Yeah.
And you could have fixed this, but you didn't.
Yeah.
And same with Chuck. Chuck's frustrated with the team as well.
Yeah. It wasn't a great weekend, especially because expectations were so high. And the rhythm we've been getting into really had laid it out for Ferrari this weekend. It felt like it was theirs to lose.
100%. It was theirs to lose.
McLaren hadn't won a race all season.
No.
It was
and McLaren
Ferrari.
would have been fighting them. But if Chuck and Hamilton had both locked out the front row, it would have been a very different story, because you still would have had Lando and Oscar fighting each other behind them, which could have allowed Ferrari to then open up the gap in the front, working together as a team, which they have no problem to. Ferrari's no problem. Hey, you should have qualified higher.
Yeah.
We're going as fast as we can out the gate. Let them all fight. We're going. But they didn't.
No,
they did not.
No. It was a really disappointing weekend for Ferrari. And talk about momentum going into the summer break. Just like McLaren's not got this wind at their sails and they've got new momentum. Ferrari, it's just back into the doldrums of like, is this just who you always are and can't get away from?
Well, and the frustrating thing is that if you look at the standings between Mercedes and Ferrari, like, Mercedes is actually not that far ahead of Ferrari.
Are not.
They are 379. Ferrari is 307. The problem is that Ferrari, in a weekend where Kimi and George are not winning the race or in P2, they need to be winning.
1 and 2.
They need to be collecting as many points as possible, and they just are not.
Yeah.
And so we look at this weekend, and we were in Hungary. Okay, so Lando takes 25. Kimi gets 15. Chuck and Hamilton together get 22. 15 plus George Russell's 6.
21 to 22.
It's nothing.
It's a wash.
It's a net gain of 1. It is absolutely unacceptable for Ferrari to have a weekend like that when they could have had 25 points and 18 points.
Yeah.
They could have had, 43 points?
Yeah.
So they could have doubled. They could be 20 points closer to Mercedes, and they're just not. And that's the real problem. That's why I think it's not about Chuck versus Hamilton right now.
Yeah.
It's about both of those drivers needing a team that is going to push everybody up.
Yeah. No, that's really well said. One of the things that Crofty brought up, phenomenal analysis, James. One of the things that Crofty brought up that I thought was so well said in the Sky Sports F1 show, he talked about how if a driver in qualifying is expected to string together 3 perfect sectors, then a team needs to be able to string together 3 perfect pit stops. Like,
that's a really good point.
You have got to have perfect strategy if your expectation of your driver is that they are able to string together 3 perfect sectors to get that qualifying perfection. So when we have a disconnect, which is what we had this weekend, Ferrari just blundered the strategy. And
100%.
then you add that to some of the other frustrations that the drivers have. Like, this was kind of the best they were going to get. And it didn't have to be that way. It really didn't. They could have finished a lot higher. They could have taken way more points off Mercedes. But again, they're going into the summer break.
Yeah.
And they're not going in congratulating themselves, even though Lewis is 50 points behind P1 and Ferrari is like 72 points behind Mercedes. Like, they should be going into the summer feeling better about
100%.
themselves. Instead, it's like back to this kind of historic insecurity that they have always sunk back into, where it's like they're just not there. And that's really frustrating.
That's exactly
for
right.
everyone who wants to see Ferrari succeed and finally beat the demons of the past this season. Like, it's just coin flip. Maybe they will, maybe they won't.
Well, and we're left asking the question, what's the real Ferrari? Is it Silverstone? Is it Spa? Is it Hungary? You know what I mean? Like, which one is Ferrari? I don't know.
Good.
Is it the win? Is it the doldrums? Is it the you were robbed? I'm not entirely sure.
Ferrari, like most Italians, are riddled with inconsistencies.
Yeah, there you go.
So
wow. Okay.
I'm Italian, I can say that. I tell my wife that all the time. I'm riddled with inconsistencies. Ferrari, it's all Ferrari.
Yes, it's how many races have they cost themselves this season?
I
and
know,
that is the hard part. Now, they're doing great. And I think that's why I'm so frustrated, because they are finally the Ferrari that we can all get behind, and the Ferrari that we've been wanting for so long.
Oh, yeah.
But they're still just not nailing it. And I think it is a combination. I think it was really enlightening to say, like, we've got a lot to learn, hearing that from Freddie V. But at the same time, also hearing we need a stronger power unit. And because I do think when that comes, they are going to be right up there. The problem is that it's going to be too late. And if you're up there and your strategy is not matching, you're just going to end up with the same results, and it's going to be just as frustrating.
Yeah.
Whereas McLaren has done this 2 years running now. There is no championship cobwebs to dust off like there is at Ferrari. They are right where they need to be. Max, he doesn't even know what a cobweb is. It's never existed in his racing craft. And Toto has been he has been waiting for this. He has been waiting for this.
Yes.
And Antonelli is a force of nature. And so if Ferrari, whether you get your engine or not, again, if you don't pull your fingers out of your tailpipe, you're not going to win this championship.
No, they've got to get their power unit, their car, their driver, their strategy on the same page. And we've seen flashes where they get it right. And when they get it right, it's magnificent.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to string together more magnificent weekends. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's just they've got to get it right. And if they're not going to do that, it's just going to be another chapter where the F1 universe is just once again reminded Ferrari can't deliver. They can't execute.
100%.
They cannot be the best in the world.
Yeah. They can't execute as a team. 50% of Mercedes seems to be executing. You know what?
I can't make this stuff up, dude.
I
can't make it up.
Here's what I genuinely believe about George Russell. I think he peaked at his title of Mr. Saturday. I think that is the defining attribute of George Russell. He is Mr. Saturday forever. Qualifies well, turns up well, scores podiums. But on Sunday, something always happens. And here's the thing. World champions do not spend their time explaining why they are not winning.
Yes.
That is not what happens.
Yes.
P21 to P7 is impressive.
Mm-hmm.
But championship winners do not spend their time working their way back from a self-induced P21.
Yeah,
it's one thing when Max Verstappen works his way from the back of the grid because of an engine penalty that he had to take. It's another thing when you anti-stall and you drop back and the camera cuts to your car and the onboard is just a flood, like a freaking deluge of Formula One cars all surrounding you and just disappearing. What is going on with George Russell? Is he internally, like, is he done?
Dude, you cannot make this storyline up where every week we think you surely can't fall any farther down into Dante's Inferno, only to realize, like, no, George discovered another layer of hell.
Yes.
Like, there's another
100%.
layer down here that we didn't think was actually possible. Like, the fact that, now here's the thing, they switched out his power unit.
Give the caveat.
Mercedes,
they are never going to admit.
Is never going to admit whether it is the power unit or its driver error. But there are lots of rumors that it was just driver error.
It's not just rumors. Toto's this season has been like, he has the car. He has the car. He has the car.
I finally gave you the car, George.
I finally gave you the car. Here's the thing. He posted on his Instagram in Monaco.
Or George?
No, George. George posted on his Instagram him like riding towards like a drone camera on a jet ski from like a yacht in Monaco. And he's like, into the summer. And I was like, we might never see George again. Is he just never going to come back? Like, is he just euphoric enough to like just be like, yeah, everything's going to be great. Like, everyone feels so bad for me. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to win on feelings.
No, it's the race started and I looked at the leaderboard to the left of the screen and I was like, wait, what?
What happened to George?
What happened to George?
Georgie Poo.
I think you are very observant to call out George and his potential peak at Mr. Saturday. At the end of the day, if you are going to execute on Sunday, there's just a different gear you've got to shift into.
Yep.
And the greats know where to find that gear and they know how to shift into it. We are seeing the emergence of a great in Kimi. We've got greats on track. We've got a Max. We've got a Lewis. We've got an Alonso. We've got a Lando.
Yeah.
We've got elite drivers, like you said about even Oscar, right?
Yeah.
Chuck, these guys who, when things line up, they know where to shift into that gear.
Exactly.
Now, George.
I like that. Yeah.
I would say George is not an elite driver. Now,
I already said that, so you know I agree.
Yeah. He's won at 22.
100%.
But there's layers within the 22.
100%.
And George is not at the top.
Logan Sargent made it to the 20. Ooh. So.
Logan who?
Exactly.
I forgot about that guy.
You know, Nicholas Latifi was in the top 20. there's levels and tiers to Formula One drivers. Yes, there's only 20 that make it. And yes, you've got to be ridiculously good. And yes,
So
if
good.
I or George Russell were to hop into a car, I would not be able to hold a candle to his ability.
I'd be throwing up. So
but I didn't choose to be a Formula One driver. I haven't lived my life to be a Formula One driver.
Singular focus.
I have not done that. And everyone else has, and he is not as good as everyone else that does. Statistically, there's no argument. And now he has the best car, and everyone is asking, and everyone is stating, if Max was in that car, the championship would be over.
He'd be driving off into the sunset.
Exactly.
And we'd all be trying to catch up.
Exactly. And he'd probably miraculously love these new regulations of Formula One.
Here's, oh God, so well said, Jim. Something I was thinking about as you were saying that is, in Formula One, when a team finally gets their car right, it is going to expose their drivers as either being elite drivers who can wrangle that machine and take it to a win and to a championship, or it's going to expose them as a driver who cannot and is not up to snuff.
Right.
And George has had the benefit of the last several seasons of being with teams that could not give him an elite machine.
And even when he was at Mercedes, he has the elite machine now.
He has the elite machine, and we are realizing you are not actually an elite driver.
And I'm not talking about him pulling some miracle out of his tailpipe.
You're using that analogy
a lot. And, causing his engine not to crap out. What I am talking about is that when you look at him and you look at Kimi's, they have roughly around the same amount of issues this season, yet they're in very different positions. And so when you look at George's issues in comparison to Max Verstappen's issues in the car that Max is driving versus the car that Russell is driving, you start to ask yourself, what's really happening here? Because Max should complain when the wing doesn't close properly and he flies off the track.
Yeah.
Twice, not once, twice.
Almost just freaking hurts himself.
Yes. That is not what we're talking about.
No.
That is not what we're talking about.
No.
And so George Russell has 160 points. He's now 9 points behind Lewis Hamilton. And more importantly, he is 59 points behind his teammate.
That's almost 3 races.
Yeah.
Like Kimi.
25. That's definitely at least 2 first places behind.
Yeah.
At minimum.
With
Kimi scoring nothing.
Which Kimi is, if Kimi
not
is
in the habit
a
of doing
car that is going to finish the race, he's going to get points.
100%.
And so some of the Sky Sports team has talked about how this finally may have taken some of the pressure off George because he's so far back where
on his teammate.
On his teammate, where we're finally kind of like willing to just kind of give him some slack. Now, I don't think we'll ever get there because he's in a Mercedes.
Right.
And there's always going to be
pressure.
That pressure and that question mark around why are you in the best car?
Yep.
And you cannot deliver.
Well, and George is still under the delusion that he thinks he can win this world championship this year.
No.
And so he's going to put pressure on himself.
But that's not doing him any good.
No.
We've seen it. Like, it was driver error what happened when he anti-stalled at the start of the race. That was driver error. Mercedes won't say it is. George won't say it is. But it was driver error, and everyone in that universe knows it.
Yes.
George is having...
Everyone else knows it, and here's why they know it. Because when it happened, he comes on the radio and goes, "What was that?" And his engineer just comes on and goes, "Anti-stall." Bro, it was you, is what your engineer is saying. Bro, it was you. You did not do it right. Oh my gosh.
And this is the thing with Mercedes. Mercedes doesn't just have a reliability issue with their power unit. they have a reliability issue with their second driver.
100%.
And their second driver being George Russell. And so if Mercedes doesn't figure that thing out, Ferrari, with all of their quirks and, funkiness, is going to challenge for the championship.
Well, and you're exactly right, because the problem is exactly what we said earlier, is that Mercedes is only 62 points ahead of Ferrari.
That's nothing.
That is nothing.
That's nothing.
And their second driver, instead of being in P2 in the strongest car on the grid, that is not like hyperbole. That is not.
It's
opinion.
It's like biblical truth.
It is fact. Yeah. It is the best car on the grid.
Yes.
They should be higher. They should be over 400 points right now. There should be a larger gap, and there is not a larger gap because of only one reason. George Russell and reliability. So I guess technically two. But
yeah,
it's George. When the car is reliable, he does not perform as well as Kimi Antonelli.
Yeah.
Period. But you know who does perform every single time? The scariest thing about Max Verstappen in P2 is that it feels like underachieving.
Yeah.
Like he is out of this world.
He's so good.
And he is
so good.
Taking that Red Bull, and he is right where he needs to be when he needs to be. What he did when Lewis overtook him and then just was like, nah. And just Lewis gave him 1 inch and he took that mile and went right back.
Dude.
That screwed Lewis's whole race.
That was like a Danny Ricciardo
It was
move.
incredible.
It was the overtake of the season.
It was absolutely sensational. Lewis Hamilton would have been kicking himself because he would have thought that he had that done. But he absolutely did not have it done. And when you overtake Max, never assume that the job is done.
No.
And he is right where he deserves to be.
Yeah.
In the car that he has. The hard part is that he is being very vocal about how unhappy he is.
Yeah.
At Red Bull.
Yeah. So about that, Max finishes P2 at Hungary and is complaining the entire way. Right. And something that Crofty said, what I saw was a fascinating observation. He said, listen, here's the thing. I know I was saying, let's not talk about Max. Max will let us know when he wants to move on and if he's going to leave Red Bull. But this actually perked my interest because when you're finishing in P2, but you're complaining as consistently as you are over the radio, he's like, I actually think Max is signaling something. And he's signaling that he's not happy. He's signaling that he's not satisfied. He's signaling that he's not content at Red Bull.
Right.
Now, again, Max knows how to play this political game. He'll stay out of it. He will stay above it. But don't for a second think that Max doesn't mean every word that he says.
100%.
He doesn't say something if he doesn't mean it. And so when Max is being as vocal as he's being, yeah, I'm sure there was something that was wrong with the car. I'm sure it was hard to drive. He's still finishing P2. And he beat Mercedes. And he beat Ferrari. Think about that for a second. Max beat Mercedes 100%. And Ferrari this weekend. That's huge.
Massive.
But Max only says what he means. And when he's being as vocal as he's being, it's impossible not to read into it and to say, yeah, there's something else going on. And
what is the something else? What do we think the something else is?
I think genuinely he's signaling that he wants out of Red Bull.
Who's he signaling to?
Well,
the world? Other teams?
I don't think Max just throws things out into the universe. I think he's probably signaling to one or two very specific teams. It's probably McLaren. It's probably Mercedes. That's it. To say hey, I'm here. I'm not happy. And we're about to go into the summer break. Max doesn't do things by accident. Max.
Do you think we're going to have an announcement over summer in regards to Max's future? Do you think he's out of Red Bull?
Well,
It says it's
got a clause. He's got an exit clause.
Allegedly, October.
But he's got to be P2 by October. He ain't going to be P2 by October. He's like in P7 right now.
Yeah, no, he's nowhere close.
He's not going to.
And it's not for a lack of his trying.
No,
that's for sure.
Now, here's the crazy thing. He's only like 51 points behind George Russell. So he's actually closer to George Russell than George Russell is to Kimi Antonelli. So he's not crazy far off.
No.
But he's not going to get in P2 by the time.
The problem is that everybody else is going to keep moving up.
Yeah, of course.
And so Hamilton, he had a bad Hungary, but he's having a great season. He's not going to just suddenly come back
for the
from
championship.
Exactly. Like it's not going to stop. George is going to score more points. Regardless of however many temper tantrums George Russell throws this year, he's in an amazing car and he can drive it.
Yep.
So he will score points.
Chuck will score more.
Yes.
Lando now is going to score more, probably win more potentially.
Yes.
100%. So yeah, I mean, when it comes to Red Bull, when it comes to Max, I think Max is in a position where he can go anywhere. We are about to enter silly season.
Yeah.
No one is going to move until they know if Max is going to move. It's not going to happen. And so Max will be the one that kicks this domino off. And you put Max in a car that can win and he's going to dominate.
100%.
So Max is here because he loves racing. He's not here because he's making an F1 movie or he's caring about sponsorships. He is here with a singular focus of winning
100%.
And having fun and enjoying himself. And so the last couple of years have been rough at Red Bull.
It's been rough at Red Bull, and I think he's paid his dues over multiple times
over.
And that's okay. He can move. It's unusual for a driver to stay at a team for the entirety of their F1 career that's this long. But even Chuck at Ferrari is unusual, but he wasn't always at Ferrari. He was at Alfa Romeo before that. Yeah. And so for me, first half of the year report card, Max Verstappen's driver of the year so far. 100%. It's not Antonelli. It's not Norris. It's not Hamilton. It is the guy that is doing the most with the least.
Yeah.
And Max is doing that. Every team on the grid wants him.
Yep.
Every team would be stupid to say no.
Yep.
And Max can go wherever the hell he wants, regardless of contracts. People will. They bought Danny Rick out.
They did.
Who is one of the most marketable F1 personalities in the history of Formula One.
Yeah.
They can buy out somebody else for Max Verstappen.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're absolutely right. Max is the one who has done the most with the least and has consistently reminded us of his elite status.
Yes.
And so there's this quote about how, acts done in private can still be valiant. And I think like Max has not been at the top step, but it doesn't mean that he has not had a incredible season having to wrangle this bull of a car that he's had to wrangle. And again, we're going on a break. Red Bull going into the summer, they got to figure out if they're going to keep Max.
Yes.
So if I'm Red Bull, I'm going into the summer with a lot of question marks.
Where would Red Bull be if they didn't have Max right now? If they had two Isaac Hadjars, like where on the grid would they be?
They'd probably be behind Racing Bulls, honestly. Like Isaac's doing well, but Max is carrying that team. Now he's got a co-pilot who is performing better than any other second driver has. Yeah. But Red Bull is only where they are because of Max.
Well, you might be undercutting Isaac a little bit. I mean, he does have 68 points on his own. He's doing a really good job. Great.
Again, the best second driver Red Bull has had in years.
Yeah.
Period.
But wow.
But no, I'm serious. If Max goes, who are they going to replace him with?
Yeah. They're definitely going to become mid-pack.
Yes.
They will not be front runners. And that is crazy to think that a Red Bull without a key driver would like Max. I don't know what other driver could go into Red Bull in its current state and actually win.
We've talked about this. If Max were to go to a McLaren,
They're not
it
going
would
to
make sense for a swap.
Yeah, but I don't think Oscar's going to hop in a Red Bull and start winning.
He's not going to start winning.
I don't even know if he would be able to pull a Red Bull into P2.
He's having a hard time with a McLaren.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think their 2027 will be a wash if they don't have Max Verstappen. But you're a Red Bull fan, so I want to hear what you think.
I'm used to rooting for teams who have very long droughts.
Cleveland.
I'm used to it. But Max deserves a car that deserves him and is worthy of him. And he doesn't have a car that's worthy of him right now.
Right.
And so, and quite frankly, he hasn't had a team that's been worthy of him.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about that. The last couple of seasons, Red Bull has been a wreck of a team.
100%.
And they've not been worthy of one of the greatest drivers of all time.
Yes.
And so Max deserves a team and a car that can allow him to just show the world who he is. And Red Bull isn't that, and the car isn't that.
So what teams are the teams that can give Max what he needs?
Well, there's two. Well, it's the top teams. It's a Ferrari, it's a McLaren, it's a Mercedes.
So
Ferrari's
what's your
not gonna do the thing.
likelihood of him? Like, what's your bet that he goes to which team?
Ferrari's out. They've got their people. They've already signed Chuck to his extension. They've got Hamilton.
They spent $500 million on him.
Yeah, Hamilton's pound for pound with Max. They don't need a Max. They've got a Hamilton.
Love that. Love that you said that.
No, it's true. It's true. I mean, he's got more championships, and he's, to this point, the greatest of all time. It really comes down to Mercedes and McLaren. And would Max go to a McLaren that's got papaya rules? I don't know. Because Max is probably like, what are these papaya rules? They suck. And McLaren's all about this whole team thing.
Max doesn't really do rules.
Max doesn't really do them. He's just like, I've never had to do this thing where my second driver is as good as me, and then I have to defer to them. Like,
yeah, but here's why Max doesn't do rules, because he's like, yeah, you take your rules. I'm just going to go out and get P1.
Yeah. So I don't like. There's a lot of talk about Max to McLaren, but McLaren would have to adjust.
Yeah.
To a Max, because Max would immediately become the number one driver, and they don't believe in number one drivers. They believe in everyone's equal here. So there would be some adjustment that would need to be.
Do you think Max would go to a team and say, I will be your number one driver, or I will not be here?
Every team, the only way they would get Max is if they can say,
so what happened if Antonelli wins the championship this year, but Max comes next year and it switches to Max being the number one driver? And Antonelli's like, well, what about year 2 for me?
I would just say, Antonelli, go win on pure pace. Go fight Max. And
that's not how number one drivers work. Like when Schumacher was there with number one driver, like Felipe Massa had to throw away races so that he could win. Slow down. Like
I don't think we're in that era of F1 anymore, where it's that like obvious.
Go listen to the last interview with Checo Perez talking about being a driver at Red Bull with Max Verstappen. He would win races and they would pat him on the back and go, hey, next time, just don't go as fast. Like,
yes, well taken, understood. Here's what I'm thinking though. If let's say a Max goes to a Mercedes and Antonelli has just won. If I'm Toto, I'm going to let them go at it for a bit. Obviously, there's an understanding that Max is more dominant. And if I'm being honest, you put Max in a Mercedes that is as dominant as it is right now, he's going to crush Kimi.
Yes.
So it's going to be very clear very quickly that Max is the number one driver at Mercedes. Now, people can say all they want. Kimi right now is going against a guy who has never won a championship.
Right.
And he is making him look like a little baby who can't drive an F1. But again, he is not going against toe to toe a Lewis Hamilton or a Max Verstappen in a Mercedes.
Absolutely not.
And you put one of those kind of elite drivers in a Mercedes, and it's going to be a different story.
Yeah.
So
I think you're dead on. I think Max is going to go either to Ferrari, McLaren, or Mercedes. Ferrari's locked up. Chuck is their golden boy.
Yeah.
And they spent $500 million getting Lewis, and Lewis is performing. So they have no reason to break up the band.
No.
Oscar seems like he has 1 foot in, 1 foot out of McLaren after last year.
He seems a little more pissy about this.
Exactly. It feels like him and Mark Webber, his manager, are on the fence about they might even facilitate a swap to Red Bull.
Yeah.
So that, because again, Oscar is in the beginning parts of his career. He is not done in any way, shape, or form. And he is an elite driver.
Yes.
He is absolutely fantastic. And he has world championship potential.
And he can be a number one driver.
100%. And he could do that. And I think that's the most logical. I think Toto would love to have the full set. Like, I think he would love to have the Max that he let get away, that he did not sign, and the Antonelli that he made sure that he signed and did not get away.
Yeah.
And he was right about Antonelli, and he was wrong about letting Max go. Yeah. And to get Max in a Mercedes, especially if they win this year, to go into next year with Max Verstappen, 4-time world champion, and the reigning world champion would be absolutely the biggest power move that anyone could make. And we know that Toto doesn't care anymore about making money, but it is about power.
Yeah.
And that would be the most powerful tool in F1.
It'd be
those
lethal.
Two drivers
Downright
in
lethal.
that car in these regulations.
No, I mean, it would be utterly
prolific,
lethal to have Kimi and Max in Mercedes for next season.
Well, and that's Toto's strategy. That was the Bottas and Lewis. Like, Bottas wasn't winning races, but he was right there with Lewis, right behind Lewis. Second place, maybe third, second place, maybe third. The only time he wasn't is when Max was in a competitive car, and it was a swap between Max and Lewis.
Yeah.
That's Toto's strategy. I want two epic drivers, and I want them both at the front, and I'll choose early on which one's going to be the champion, and I will put everything behind them.
Is George sealing his fate at Mercedes with his performance so far this season?
I think George was a safe bet to keep on board while Hamilton left and bring Antonelli on. And it is clear that George Russell is not going to compete at this level.
Yeah.
Toto is looking for a top 3 driver that's comfortable every week, that's fighting and leading the team every week, not whining and moaning and blaming everything else to then just realize that it's actually his driving style. And then to anti-stall on the line the 1 week that they actually swapped out his power unit. So yeah, I think George has sealed his fate. I think if Max doesn't move, then I think George is safe. I don't think they're going to bring anybody else in.
But Max is ruthless, though. He can smell blood in the water.
Yeah.
And
if he wants that seat, he can go get it. The other thing is that, like, the real factor that we're not talking about here with Max is money.
Yeah.
He's the highest paid on the grid. And it is almost impossible to actually conjure up the finances to sign him. Aston Martin was floating around $1 billion. Like $1 billion, bro. That's insane.
That's unreal.
Yeah. So we're looking in the hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars for a contract for him. And, Mercedes might not want to do that. Especially if they win the championship this year. That's what it's really about.
It is, but it's also about the future, and you always have to maintain a competitive edge.
Yes,
you
but
can
Max
never relent.
Yes, 100%. But Max is vocal. We don't know if he's going to be here much longer. And he doesn't. The regs are getting better. He doesn't love them. He could in October go, I'm not coming back next year. He dropped a quote on Motorsport about how much he's enjoying learning how to drive NASCAR right now. Like, and how it's a different kind of thing, and he might take some time to get used to it. And everyone's like, wait, why are we talking about NASCAR, bro? What is going on here?
Honestly, do you think
rubbing is racing, baby?
Do you think
Imagine
Max is just
a troll? Yes,
he's just
100%.
Trolling F1.
He's just based. He just doesn't care.
He's just trolling the FIA. He's trolling these regs. He's trolling other teams. He's upping his stock, which is already insanely high, to just hint that he might leave. Now, again, I know Max says everything that he means. Like, he means 100%. Everything he says. So the fact that he's saying those things, like, I believe him, but I cannot anticipate. This isn't like Danny Rick leaving F1. No. This would be like Lewis Hamilton leaving F1.
Correct.
A Schumacher leaving F1. Like, this is that caliber if Max leaves F1.
100%.
It can't happen. He's too young.
Mm-mm.
He can be the greatest of all time in F1 because he has a more mileage than Lewis Hamilton does.
100%.
Like, he could be it.
Yes.
But
he will forever be argued as. There'll be no doubt about that for the rest of however long this world keeps spinning and Formula One keeps going. Lewis Hamilton will be talked about. Senna will be talked about. Schumacher will be talked about. And Max Verstappen will be talked about. Even if he doesn't win another championship. Yeah. He will be talked about.
He's etched his name.
Yes.
Forever.
Forever. It is not hyperbolic to say there has never been a driver like Max Verstappen. There's never been a driver like him. It's taken me 5 years to say it, but there
Proud
it is.
of you.
Thank you so much.
Proud of you.
Netherlands is up talking about Maxi Poo. We're off to the Netherlands where everyone speaks like there's something stuck in the back of their throat.
A fantastic race, though.
A beautiful race.
I mean, just the weather always gives us such drama.
Yes.
Right on the freaking ocean.
The Dutch Grand Prix is fire.
It's incredible.
And that's round 12, and there's 12 more races. The Bahrain race is not going to happen in Bahrain.
No.
It's the Bahrain race in Singapore.
I've heard they're carrying most of the costs, which is nice of them.
That was very nice of them.
Nice of them.
They have a lot of money there, apparently. Yeah.
Works out.
I'm going to leave it at that. And it's going to be a great rest of the season, but it is a summer break. And
it is.
We are going to take some time off.
We are.
Which will be wonderful.
It's going to be great. No, I mean, genuinely, this season has delivered to this point.
100%.
And I genuinely believe the pack at the top is only going to get tighter.
100%.
And we are going to ride this championship all the way to the end. And right now, it is looking like it's going to be a Lewis v. Kimi.
Yes.
To the end. I mean, the story doesn't write itself any better. And if we get
yes,
a Lando or a Max or even a Russell, if we get a 3-way championship fight, like, what are we doing here? This is incredible.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Is what we want.
Yeah, the regulations the cars aren't what I would have designed.
No.
And I don't think anyone would. The whole giant battery
overtake
thing. And it proves my point that hybrid systems suck and everyone should just have gas cars. But that's just a me thing.
I mean, I have a hybrid, but I don't drive F1.
Exactly. So. When it comes to racing, it's called racing, Toto.
Yeah.
Bring back the V10s.
You're not alone in that theory, by the way.
No, I think they just, I get it. You want to be sustainable. But if you really wanted that, then you wouldn't allow any of the people to pull up in their private jets every weekend. It's all just a freaking marketing gimmick to me. It's whatever. So I'm not going to dive into it, Ben.
All good.
I'm not going to dive into it.
The rest of the season.
But it's all a bunch of cooey. And on that note, we're out of here.
Right. Thanks, folks. See you soon.